parents get arrested for multiple reasons, and this father's arrest motive was one of the oddest, as you can later judge by yourself. Robert Hoogland, father and husband, was arrested and jailed after the Attorney General of British Columbia ordered a warrant for contempt for nothing other than him continuing to refer to his child, who was born a girl but identifies as a boy, as she and her. The arrest order came after the Supreme Court of British Columbia ruled that the girl, who now wanted to be a boy as she feels that she was born in the wrong body and should be able to be who she was born to be, would receive the testosterone injections needed for transgender operation without having to obtain any parental consent. Her father would have no say in what his child decides to become. The order requires that the minor child be acknowledged and referred to as male, and is exclusively entitled to consent to medical treatment for gender dysphoria. In the beginning, when the very first children were given medication to put a stop to the natural process of puberty and slow their transition into mature men/women, transgender advocates were mocking those who were worried about giving children hormones at an early stage in their development, hormones that their body wouldn't be able to spontaneously produce. They were worried that this would have severe consequences on their bodies and growing up process in general. However, now, with the growing erosion of parental rights, this went as far as to include even speaking concern about their child's transition out loud, as Hoogland, the father who was stripped from all his parental rights, has sadly discovered. The reason why the entire avalanche that took Hoogland's parental rights and even got him arrested was that he had filed an appeal to stop his child from undergoing any medical or legal procedures to transition without his parental consent. As you may have guessed, he was ultimately denied by the Court of Appeal. Even though Hoogland wasn't really formally charged, he was still ordered to stop using the female pronouns to refer to his child, according to the Daily Wire reports, as this was offensive to his kid and didn't respect her wishes. The document states that attempting to persuade the child to abandon treatment for gender dysphoria, addressing the child by his birth name, referring to the child as a girl or with female pronouns, whether to him directly or to third parties, shall be considered to be family violence under S38 of the Family Law Act. Hoogland claimed he would be facing up to 5 years in prison if he maintains referring to his child as she or using the possessive pronoun her when talking about her. In addition to that, he was denied the right to vocal his stance against the medical and surgical transitioning of minors to anyone. The BC Supreme Court Justice Michael Tamman also issued a gag order on the father and even ordered the integral removal of all the video interviews of Hoogland from the internet, where they were becoming viral and getting some unwanted attention from the online community, the Vancouver Sun reports. The court ordered Robert Hoogland to never refer to his child by the female pronouns, whether it is directly, when addressing the child, or indirectly, when talking to a third party. In a previous video he shared online, Hoogland explained that his battle all began after he refused to sign a consent form for injecting his child with cross-sex hormones. Only a few months after he declined to consent, Hoogland received a notice from the BC Children's Hospital stating that he is actually prohibited from accessing any of his child's medical records. Hoogland says the form stated that the treatment will cause sterilization/infertility. That's the worst ones, increased heart disease, and osteoporosis. It stunts your puberty in its rate where you're at. He also says the document goes on to say that this is an experiment and we do not even know the harmful effects. He further explained that his child even started having meetings with a school counselor at the young age 13. According to him, the school counselor was the one who was encouraging the 7th grade child to identify as a boy and become one through hormone injections and surgical procedures. The child then started seeing doctors to get the conversion started. The doctors prescribed testosterone injections in order for the pubescent teen to stop the body's natural development and help create a more masculine appearance that would lead to a male physical look, which is what the child aspired to be. Hoogland, a concerned father, launched a campaign to fund his legal battle in a last effort to save his child from a medical process that has lifelong effects that his child was still too young to understand. Unfortunately, he is actually in a fight lost in advance, as the courts have removed his parental rights, not to mention his freedom to speak. Hoogland's case highlights the terrifying reality in the clash between parental rights and transgender activism. Parents have lost all of their rights in trying to look out for their children and make sure that no permanent effects they don't understand yet are done to their young bodies. What's even more disturbing is that judicial officials and lawmakers are attempting to replace the parents and are making major medical decisions for children. In the wake of social justice, parents are seeing their rights stripped, and there's nothing much they can do about it as lawmakers keep holding their hands tied and limit their involvement in their children's decisions. Their main responsibility as parents to protect their children and make decisions for them is now at the mercy of the court and judges. Children are too young to be able to understand the long-term consequences of such operations and injections. Their brains have underdeveloped frontal lobes, making major lifelong decisions that cannot be easily reversed and are often permanent. What is happening is a very gross abuse of naive and ignorant children who cannot take life decisions on their own, as they are not even psychologically capable of grasping the consequences of their decision, one that they can make on their own, without their parents interfering to protect them.